I'm curious. Since reality does, and you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but since reality does unfold in a series of symbol or a series of patterns, which we can then represent symbolically, what is the meta pattern? What is the pattern of patterns?
I mean, it's what's written described in Genesis. That's the best. Let's say the best story in the Bible would be like the story of Christ, but only because it's a puzzle. It's an answer to a puzzle that is posed in the first chapter of the Bible in Genesis. And so the pattern is, a transcendent, infinite, and then in order for the world to exist, there has to be two opposites, heaven and earth. A world of actuality and a world of potential, very much the way that, some of the later Neoplatonists or even like Dante presents it. And then there's the places where those meet. There's the incarnational principle, let's say. So it's like it's heaven, earth, and then a point that joins it together. And then once that happens, the way it joins together, it looks like a mountain because it gathers multiplicity and potential into a point. And so you have heaven, you have earth, and then you have a mountain that comes up to a point. It's like, and then you have, a concentric element and an eccentric element, and an aspect going up, and an aspect coming down, an aspect going towards the center, an aspect going away from the center. It's like if you just have that, you've got it. Like that's the pattern, And so the pattern can represent itself in different ways. It can represent itself as a going down the mountain, coming up the mountain in terms of stories, or just going up. And so you can see it, as a fall and redemption. You can see it there's all kinds of ways in which you can understand it. But that's basically the pattern.
Is that pattern present in pretty much every pattern that we encounter, whether we want it to be there or not, that union of heaven and earth?
Yeah, there's no other way. So you could understand it like the meta pattern is the way the pattern joins with a particular. Like that's the meta pattern. And so it's like it's a self-same pattern. Like it's a pattern about how patterns fit with the world. Like that's what makes it strange for people to understand. It's like it's not an arbitrary pattern. Like it's the pattern of how things exist. It's like so you could think that you can see the pattern as a name. Sometimes it's represented that way. That might be an easier way to understand it. It's like it's a pointing. So imagine a finger coming down from heaven and says dog, and it's like, and then all the variability of dog is captured in that name. And so it's like there are millions of dogs and there are hundreds of species, but nonetheless, I can still see dog, and there still is a contained unity, within that. But there's a hierarchy, and so it's like, is it a dog? And then there are margins to the pattern, and so within the pattern itself, so there are breeds, and then there are kind of a mutt. Like, why is a mutt? Why do mutts exist? Like, why is a mutt and not just another breed, right? So it's like, why do we have a wolf, but it's not a dog, but it's like a dog? It's like on the margin of, it's like a transition. It's and so all patterns have that reality to them. It's like they have a center, an identity. They have a movement. They have a kind of ideal that is invisible, that you can see as being the thing that joins it together, and then it has exceptions and margins and variability. So yeah, so I think anything you can recognize as having being, has that.